So continuing on with the winches, we're moving on to HM5. Before we do that, just want to remind you of some of the safety procedures you should have in place. One, if you notice I'm wearing some work gloves. The other thing, I have eye protection. The other thing is consider that the incident that you're at on what type of protection you should be wearing depending on what you could be exposed to in that particular incident. So we'll move on with HM5. Some of the key differences, the actual remote control, you can still get it in the glove box. As you look at it, it's more got of a gun device, but the same concept. One to move the winch out, the cable out, one to move it in. Simple as that. We connect it just the same. You're looking for the metal prongs that'll fit the actual metal pieces. As I look at that. Okay, connected. The other difference is we don't have to go inside the hood this time on HM5. There's no key in place that we actually have to turn. We could operate it without the motor on, but it's always best to have that extra power. So we'll turn on the engine in a second. The difference also with the clutch. As we engage the clutch, right now, this position, as this piece faces forward, it's engaged. If I move this and turn it all the way around, now it's disengaged. So I can pull this out manually if I wanted to. If I completely turn it back, the other angle, now the clutch is engaged. Okay, so I can start the vehicle. Other thing that's a little different from HM5, you have this extra piece here, and this is where we should actually be holding on to the winch, just in case we get our hands caught inside. So this will keep that from happening if you're holding on to this. Okay? Turn the motor on. Same safety precautions as before. Remember, you can use this at a distance, have somebody in control, 1 or 2 people, where you're actually pulling something up. But again, I can take this and I can either use my remote control or I can manually disengage it. So I can pull that out. Okay? Once I have whatever I'm pulling back in place, I can re-engage. And with this particular remote control, again, remember, I can either go in or out. So as I pull this, I'm using this right trigger, brings in the cable. I can also use it to bring it out. Okay? Now we're using this at a short distance right now just for the training, but keep in mind as I pull this in, remember you always want to pull it to where it's the opposite side that spooling is accumulating. So as I bring it in, I'm actually doubling my wire, my cable, so I'm going to bring that back. Okay? Again, it's always good to keep it taut and walk it in, pull it to the opposite side of where that cable is building up. So that's the end of HM5.